Healing Horizons, where every story is a bridge to transformation. I'm your host, Saima, and today's guest is Jessica, a soulful real estate strategist, marketing pro, and mindset advocate who's redefining success through connection, clarity, and community. From navigating Quebec's real estate market to supporting women through reinvention, Jessica brings warmth, wisdom, and a clear voice to the often messy middle of personal and professional healing. And in this conversation, we'll unpack the power of mentorship, the importance of asking for help, and how aligned the community and coaching can accelerate healing in all areas of life. And Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're warmly welcome. It's my pleasure to have you here, Jessica. So, Jessica, you have built a career around clarity and connection, which is really remarkable. So, how has your own healing journey shaped the way you now show up for clients and community?
I think it is through adversity that we try to, find clarity. And with each person that I tend to work with, I always bring that sense of clarity to them as well, because with everyone I work with, they too are going through some type of scenario or situation or a pivotal point in their life. So if I can bring some clarity to them, that always, makes us connect a little more and brings, our business a little bit closer to, instead of a business relationship and to a more,
Hmm.
more of a friendship.
That's beautiful, said Jessica. You can, truly feel that how your journey informs the safe and clear space you create for others.
Yes, and through that, I mean, just by having an experience with somebody, they will naturally just speak about it to others, and then that kind of almost builds a community or people of women in general around that just kind of like to help support each other. So I think my career was really built on making sure that we empower each individual by making the right choices and feel good with the choices they're making.
That's honest. So, was there a specific moment when you realized that you needed to ask for help too?
Yes. So, naturally, I feel like we always have a shift in our life very often, more so than we would like. And so I feel like at every stage in your life, there will be something that comes up and it plays a catalyst as to where you should go next. And that is why I thought, you know what, sometimes, you know how they say it's a business is not built on the back of just one person, but the backs of many. Let's say, it always takes a team. Well, the same thing goes for yourself. Sometimes, you cannot do it all. And that is why I decided to dive in and get a coach to really keep me not just accountable, but to give me a whole new perspective and make sure that my mind was stronger than it was before. Because naturally, our brains will just not go to what it's comfortable and used to.
Mm-hmm. I think it takes a real self-awareness and courage to recognize when it's time to seek support. And I think so many of us can relate to that feeling of trying, to carry everything alone before realizing help can make all the difference.
Absolutely. I feel more so, well, men suffer from this a lot. And recently I had the opportunity for somebody to let me know that they were suffering too. But women as well, we feel like the world is always, on our shoulders and we got to keep it together and put on a brave face. But it's not possible to just carry the weight on your shoulders all the time. And so I think there's such a big stigma in saying, I get help or I need help. So we have to change the narrative around that.
Yes, absolutely. And I too feel that healing isn't a solo act, it's a supported and sometimes messy masterpiece in progress.
100%. And sometimes I feel because there's so many resources out there, AI, books, podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel people can think they can do it on their own, but with not a proper system, plan, process in place, they really cannot achieve at a maybe a faster pace or at a better pace as to what they would want to achieve in the end, because within that, that's a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Like, Jessica, you're passionate about coaching and mentorship. So can you share that? Why do you believe having the right coach or community can be, such a game changer during hard times?
Because you get to connect. I think through, COVID and what happened is that we lost that connection to people. Now everything is just virtual, and that is fine. But I think we still need that human approach, that person to person appeal. People want to feel like they're being heard, seen, advocated for, loved. So I really feel in coaching, you have that person that's really listening and hearing you out and really advising you on what to do based on your specific goals and your needs. And within that, there's a community of people like minded, like yourself, that are on the same path. And you can each help each other in growing and finding a solution to whatever problem you're facing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Jessica. I too feel, there's such power in being truly seen and heard, and like having, someone gently guide us when like clarity feels out of reach and make all the difference. I love how you put that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what would you, say to someone who feels like asking for help means they have failed?
I just had a conversation with a friend of mine as well too, where they reached out because they were going through a breakup and they didn't know how to deal with it. And I had recently gone through one myself, and they felt like they failed themselves. That was kind of, well, it was exactly word for word. They said, I feel like I failed myself. And I said, no, you didn't fail yourself. This is just a lesson. You have to just move forward and learn from this scenario and situation, and that's okay, and I'm glad you reached out, because this is where we can help each other. I can give you what I've done, and you know in within your failure, I have failed also, and that's how I learned, and that's how I'm able to give you this piece of advice today, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, I mean, asking for help isn't a sign for failure. It's actually like an act for strength and self-respect, And I think it's such a powerful shift when we realize that seeking support is part of growth, not weakness.
absolutely. And I feel people sometimes cannot go to certain family members or friends, and sometimes they like to seek an outside opinion or person that is not really biased on anything. And so I think that's where community really plays a role in that as well too, knowing that there's somebody in a certain community or somebody that you know of that can really guide you in a different direction, and it's like if your mom says something, you probably won't listen, but if it's somebody else, then you probably will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I completely agree. Now, as someone who blends personal growth with business, I'm curious to know this that how do you create space for wellness while, staying on top of a demand real estate career?
Well, part of getting coaching was to really implement strategies that allowed me to have time blocks. I think that's important. And knowing how to create structure in your day to day and week by week. I set up my morning so that I could really optimize myself spiritually, emotionally, physically, so I can get ready for the day. So all those things are kind of done, and then I can start, to work. And that I think is important. So your morning and night routine, I think, is a really good component to have that balance.
That's a great approach. I mean, it's really inspiring to hear that, like how intentionally care out space for wellness alongside, the demands of career, and like it really shows that balance is possible even in a busy industry like real estate.
Absolutely. And there's also other, tricks. And as I'm getting coaching, is realizing there's certain things that you don't have to say yes to everything. And if you need a couple of minutes just to regain focus and clarity, that's okay too. Like take your 5 minutes, find a quiet space, whether it be in a car or nearest park. Like just take that few moments to yourself and just take a few deep breaths. There's nothing more powerful than doing a little meditation or just go connecting with your breath once again.
Mhm. That's such a helpful reminder. So, like, is that your, ritual that helps you reset when life gets chaotic?
I'm learning to establish that a little more within each
Mm.
day. But what I typically tend to do recently now, before I'm going to implement this, breath work a little more, is I typically tune into music that makes me feel good because I'm constantly in my car. So I make
Mhm.
sure to have like a playlist handy of feel good songs so that I can put myself in a really good state and a really good mood for whatever I'm going to go do
Oh.
so I can show up
Mhm.
as the best version of myself.
Oh, that's lovely. So, Jessica, you have navigated, personal identity shifts, including stepping out of a blended family role. So, how did that experience teach you about boundaries?
I feel as though having that family before really taught me a lot about myself, what I'm capable of, what I have to offer to a family dynamic, especially children. I also learned about, boundaries for myself. Like we as women sometimes are always go, 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 yes, 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 but not really saying, okay, I need those 5 minutes to myself and 5 minutes alone. Same thing in business, right? So I think I had to really learn, okay, it's okay to say no to certain things, or it's okay to say, no, let's do this afterwards. I just need like an hour to myself. So that I think people have been struggling with for a very long time.
Hmm. That's such an honest point, Jessica. Learning to like pause and say no when needed really does shape how we hold like boundaries, especially in roles where naturally gives us so much.
Yes, exactly. And I think we forget that there's also two people in a dynamic. Sometimes you are just one, but if you are two people that are, in this household, you have to just come to a point where you have to share responsibilities equally or just know how to communicate with each other. Like, hey, I just need an hour to myself. Do you mind going and doing this? Or I or vice versa. And I think communication amongst your partner is absolutely crucial.
Mm-hmm, sure. So, what advice would you offer to someone, going through a major personal transition right now?
I would say reach out to somebody that you admire as if it's a coach or not, just, reach out to that person, ask them how they got to whether you want to get to or how to feel a certain way if you're feeling bad. Just, I feel like reaching out to somebody and you'll be surprised. Most people want to help others. And that's what happened with my coach. I reached out and they were like, yes, absolutely, I can help with this. As I was going through a difficult scenario, I had just gone out of surgery. I just needed to regain my life back, and my mindset was not so great. So just reach out and find what fits best for you. Get off your phone, get outside, and, talk to somebody that can really help you get to that next point of your life.
Mm-hmm, that's such an important reminder, Jessica. I mean, we don't have to like navigate big transitions alone. Reaching out for support can surely make all the difference.
Absolutely. And I feel like just again, back to, social media and what's online. Yes, there's a lot of stuff online. There's always a next guru that comes out. And so there's a lot of noise, I can say, out there, and it could get really chaotic or you feel overwhelmed. Who do I listen to, right? And so I always think it's best to just stick to what really resonates with you or the people that really resonate with you and go to that avenue. Or sometimes you'll be surprised, like Facebook has been a really great tool for me locally to just say what I need to say, and so you'll be surprised. A lot of people just answer in the comments and they want to, either talk a little more on the topic or want to meet up in person to want to talk about it. And so could, that's a really great way to, bond with your local community.
That's so real. Now, if someone listening today is, overwhelmed and unsure where to begin, what's one gentle first step they can take towards healing through community or coaching?
I would say grab a pen and paper and write down your thoughts and your values and where you see yourself moving forward if you're going through a really difficult time. Like, what is it that you want to achieve? Are you hurting from something and you don't want to hurt anymore? Is there something pivotal that happened to you and you want to get over it? Like, what is that pain point and where do you see yourself overcoming it? And then naturally, you'll see where you need to go from there. For me, I knew it was my mindset more so because I was stagnant and still, and I needed to reach out to somebody that could help me become, mentally stronger. So even if it's, for example, losing weight and that is a pain point for you, well, obviously the next step is to get the right coaching for that to understand nutrition and movement. So I really think grabbing a pen and paper and getting to know yourself on paper is really a big game changer, in my opinion. So I think writing it all down and then figuring out the next steps and how to get there.
I really love that suggestion, Jessica. I mean, there's something so honest and grounding about, taking pen to paper. It really allows like thoughts and feelings and worries actually to come out in a safe way without judgment or pressure.
Exactly. And no one gets to see it besides you or whoever you want to share it with. So it's a good safe environment for yourself to keep all that
Mm-hmm.
within you.
Yes, absolutely. So, like, what's one truth you hold on to when the, path ahead feels unclear?
When my path feels unclear, I I always go back. So every year I do a vision board and I always write down some of my goals. And life gets busy. We always forget to maybe perhaps look up and look at the vision board again or look at what we wrote in our notebook. And I think it's just going back to again, going to what you visually put out there for you to see and to also reread what you've written before. So it's always going back to the original basics and seeing, okay, this is what I was doing this for. And this is what I wanted to accomplish. So let's go.
That's really a grounding truth, Jessica. And like holding on to that can, really make a difference when things like feel uncertain. And I'm really curious to know that how do you personally, remind yourself of the truth in those moments when like doubt or fear starts to creep in?
Oh, well, doubt and fear will always creep in. I have no choice. But, remaining calm, I always was told by my coach, remain back to your breaths, remain calm, steady, just go back to your breath, find that sacred 5 minutes in space and, recollect with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, you'll see that the anxiety will kind of get over and that overwhelm will get over. And you can you can kind of move forward with clarity a little more. And so again, it goes back to like breath work.
Thank you for sharing that so openly, Jessica. It's I such a helpful reminder, that staying connected to what grounds us, especially like in moments of doubts, take intention and practice, as you said.
Yes, exactly. So staying grounded, but I also feel like there's different parts of people that, sometimes necessarily don't feel like they can ground themselves right away and they obviously need to react. I recently learned not to react right away, but for those who are still kind of adapting and learning, I feel like it's always good to have at least that one person or,
Mm-hmm.
somebody, a confidant really, that you can really just pick up the phone and call and just maybe vent and just say, listen, I just need to vent. I just need to let this off my chest. And I don't want to give it any more power after these 5 minutes. I just want to, talk it out and that's it. No judgment. I think that's a powerful move as well.
That's beautiful. I too feel, Jessica, that healing begins the moment we like decide we don't have to do it alone anymore.
Absolutely. And there's always somebody that's willing to help or, at least, or there's always a community out there, whether it's through your church or if you're not faith-based, there's always that community out there that could always be there to help and guide you as well. You just have to obviously go and seek it and ask for it.
Absolutely. Jessica, you reminded us that healing isn't just about bouncing back, it's about rebuilding with intention, support, and soul. So, listeners, if you're craving connection, clarity, or courage, let this be a sign to reach out, lean in, and trust the community waiting for you. Until next time, on Healing Horizons with Saima, stay rooted, stay open, and keep flowing.